The New Jersey Bank Marketing Association presents its October 2012 Bank Marketing Seminar. This program was recorded on October 4th, 2012 in Clark, New Jersey. In this program, print marketing with Marty Rubin of SpectraMedia and Michael Kaufman of Cox Printers. At the lectern to introduce this segment is Darren Carfano of Columbia Bank.
Our last presentation for this morning, we have Marty Rubin, president of SpectraMedia. Marty is no stranger to the financial services industry, who directs the operation of SpectraMedia, formerly SpectraForm, an 83-year-old full-service printer located in Linden, right next door to us. He has been a force in the New Jersey banking community for over 50 years and has served on many boards and committees devoted to marketing, education, and financial literacy. In his presentation, he will be joined by his partner, Michael Kaufman, president of their sister company, Cox Printers. Marty?
Good morning. As Darren said, I'm Marty Rubin, and this fine young man over here is my partner, Michael Kaufman. He is the perfect example of today's modern printer, and we'll get back to him later, but right now, I'm on. The topic is direct mail marketing. It's back, but maybe it never went away. It just very possibly reinvented itself. And so, a few words on reinvention. The way things have gone in commerce, in banking, in all of the various venues, things have moved so fast that it is absolutely essential for all of us to reinvent, to be more innovative, to be more creative, to more thinking outside the box. And in order to do this, we need to reach out for the best kind of expertise, the best kind of advice, to partner in order to get to where we need to go. And so, direct mail works, and the right printer is the key. And what do printers do? They put ink on paper, but they can do a lot more. And that is what I need to express the importance of direct marketers or marketing directors who have a message, partnering with a really competent printer who will be producing the vehicle that delivers that message. Together, it can be a huge win situation. The vehicles, and I have some samples that I'll leave out here, but we're looking at brochures, inserts, newsletters, postcards, the kind of printed material that is the vehicle for carrying the message. I'd like to talk about how you go about, in my feeling, choosing a printer. When you look to see what kind of a printer you want as a really interactive partner, you have to see that he has the right kind of computer graphics technology that's so important today, plus the kind of people that are involved with it. The right kind of presses, of course, all the various types of presses, sizes, color capabilities, and such. And bindery, mailing facilities, but this is all a package that will allow the printer to be the best kind of a partner. And wherever possible, it's totally recommended to be able to see for your own self and visit the printer so that you can see exactly what he has and the kind of staff that he has. Just a quick explanation, because what I'm talking about is basics here, and I'm hoping a lot of people are familiar, but maybe there are people who are not totally familiar. And so when I quickly say a printer should have a bindery is an area of the printing facility that has cutters, folders, collators, creasers, scorers, bookmakers. This is the area that takes the printed piece, whatever it is, the vehicle that carries the message, and puts it into finished shape. So much has happened so recently in the printing industry, which is interesting because I sort of straddle a time period where I can look back and remember when. There was a point when I was a kid where nothing had changed in 100 years. I started working on letterpresses that were 75 years old, that were built like tanks, and they were going on. And of course, the first thing every morning was you actually oiled them with an oil can, as one of the first things that you did. That, of course, is history now, because the advent of the new process, which I'm now going to sort of quickly explain in a basic way so you get an idea of what is out there as far as the printing equipment. Offset printing came into being. And what offset printing needs in order to put ink on paper is plates. They're usually aluminum plates, and it's a photographic process that puts the image onto the plate and then transfers the ink to the paper. At first, this was a photographic darkroom process with human beings doing careful cutting and pasting in order to make the negatives right so you could shoot the right picture and whatever. Now, those who can and make the investment, it's all robotic, so that the human element has been removed, and plates are made in the modern printing facility automatically, so they're perfect, and there's no redo. With offset printing and using plates, if there's any change at all, a letter, a word, whatever, a new plate has to be made, and that's the process. What has come on the scene in recent years is the next step along this process, and that's called digital printing. There are a lot of different advantages, disadvantages, and whatever, but digital printing, the major difference is, right away, there are no plates. A digital press that's capable of printing brilliant color work in small quantities, etc., takes its instructions from a computer. So therefore, you can run 100 pieces of paper through a digital press and have a different message or image on each one of these pieces of paper because the computer is telling it exactly what to do. This is a huge, exciting breakthrough in marketing and, of course, in direct mail marketing, because you can put things on paper that can be attention-grabbing, which is what you want to do, and that's what will come next. So what I've just described is something that is called variable data. The idea that you can put words or images that are different on a whole sequence of pieces of paper. The whole idea with successful direct mail marketing is to make sure in some way the person that receives your piece that you've sent out reads it without dumping it immediately. So what you need to do is figure out some attention-grabbing device or whatever. Here again is this interactive partnership that you can glean a great deal of support from your printer, who maybe has been there, done that 1,000 times, and so is a great source. But just as examples of, I know a company that had an extraordinarily successful all-day open house event, and they sent out a hold the date. Oh, the theme of the event was a beach party. They sent out a hold the date piece that was shaped in the form of a flip-flop made of die-cut cardboard material and cloth sewed together, and on the flip-flop was the information about the hold the date. Well, the number of marketing directors who received this and reacted was extraordinary, because right away they said, holy cow, what an amazing thing. Of course, you know, I'll remember that. So that there are a number of things, you know, sending out in the mail, and we've all got this, where it says, you know, hello Marty Rubin, or hello Marty, or whatever, you know, is nice, but it's already, you're sort of to get used to this. But what if someone got a brilliantly printed piece that showed a New York subway car totally graffitied, and Dennis Kane's name was spray painted right in the middle of it. And Dennis opens this up, and is he not going to stop and look at it and maybe laugh and appreciate it? And this, I know for a fact, when this was done by a printer that, any rate, the marketing director actually put it up on his corkboard, and it's been there for 3 years. Because first of all, it's a piece of art, and second of all, holy cow, it grabbed his attention. So that you can go on and on, but with a collaborative kind of partnership between marketing people in the bank and a printer that knows his stuff and has the ability to produce, together you can do amazing things and come up with just great, great ideas. I think that I've put out what I feel is basic as far as printing and et cetera. And so I feel that I'd like to be more technical so you can have a better idea of what's on a modern printing floor and how it has progressed since Mr. Gutenberg used movable type to print his Bible. So he's been waiting patiently, and I will turn over the speaking duties to Michael, my partner, and we will continue as soon as I find out what to do.
Isn't he great? Look how much I taught him. Is that amazing? I mean, this is awesome. If you don't know Marty Rubin, you need to know this man.
Do it, Steve.
And he said something about printing for 100 years. He is not 100 years old. Actually, he runs circles around people less than half of his age. It's remarkable. Should be good. Excellent. All right. So I really don't even feel like I need this. Thank you, Marty. He said a lot of nice things. My mom's smiling someplace. You know, this is like, I feel like this is like a direct mail brainwashing that's going on here this morning. But the key is, and it's been said, you need an expert to bring it all together. Part of this is we're told it's not to be a commercial, so I'm going to work very hard to keep it from being just that. My coworkers, whenever I have company meetings, and we do this frequently because I believe communication is really essential, I always have my notes. And if I don't have my notes, I have a tendency to really take off on tangents, and that gets really ugly. So I'm encouraged to use my notes, so I'm going to do that for you guys. If everybody would do me a favor right now, just raise your hands. Come on, everybody. You're all sitting there. Raise your hands. You can do it. Everybody. We're not going to. You all raise your hands, all right? Okay. The reason I'm doing that is because I'm going to be asking questions, and this is interactive. And part of everything you've heard this morning is interactive, isn't it? Whether it's email, whether it's direct mail, whether it's tweets, whatever it is, whatever you want to call it, it's interactive. So real quick, I'm going to touch base, and I'm going to move quickly. And no, I don't even drink coffee, okay? Well, decaf. My wife makes me. Some important clarifications between offset and digital. Okay, one is an ink-based system. It's good old-fashioned ink, something that he alluded to. The world of digital is toner-based, and there are differences. And your vendor needs to know these differences. There's paper size restrictions. Digital might be 13 by 19 approximately. Different devices have some different maximums, but that's pretty much it. An offset press, you could have a 26 by 40-inch press that would go from this wall to that wall. So there's differences. The weights of the paper, more limited digitally. Design is crucial. If it's not done properly, the layout, the colors could look streaky. Some devices just don't print as nice as others. That's all there is to it. They're glorified toner-based systems. It's like taking a monster copier, attaching a very powerful computer to it. It could look streaky. And if it's designed wrong and folded wrong, it could flake. And you've all gotten this in the mail. I get it all the time. Drying times are different. Here's a great upside. Digital, it's dry right now. I can cut it as quickly as it comes off. The world of offset, yeah, there's some tricks that we could play, but the truth of the matter is, I always use the analogy, you painted the wall, do you put your hand up against it? You kind of wait a little while, don't you? We put thousands of pounds of pressure on that paper to cut it and to fold it. You want to wait. So there's a time constraint. Those are, and obviously those are just tip of the iceberg, but those are the key differences to know because it can affect the outcome of your project and the budget. You know, I have a lot of, you can see I'm scribbled, I got it typed. One of the ironies is with the internet, you know, we hear about, you know, email and direct mail. When first the internet came out and everything, oh, well, we don't need mail anymore, everybody's going to go on the internet. Yeah, and the first thing that happened, all those inserts in the Sunday Ledger were going to disappear. And then what happened? All the inserts came back, driving everybody to the websites. And that's what was said before. It's an irony. So instead of people getting all that information out, I don't need to give you a 48-page catalog anymore. The fact is, I'll send you a 24-page catalog, and then you're going to go to the internet. And it's that dual interaction that drives the responses right through the roof. And it's shown and it's proven. So we're here to talk about direct mail. And some people think direct mail just means sending it to the house, but I'm talking right to you, and you're feeling there's a difference. When I was speaking out here to everybody, now I'm talking straight to Heather. And Heather, it's different when I'm speaking to you, right? Okay, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm out into the world. I've projected right to Heather, and we just had a conversation. Well, kind of. I'll pick it up later. You know, to strictly speak of marketing in today's world as direct mail would be really not right. It is email, and it is direct mail, and I feel like I'm doing the conclusion of everything that we've heard here. And any printer who doesn't think that they need to be into this is making a drastic mistake. It's adapt or die, and it's true for everybody in this room and in your industry as well. If you don't make the changes to go on what's getting people to react today, then you got to be wondering why everybody's going down the block to the other branch for your competitor. It's personal, it's individual, and it's more impactful. So if any of us are selling products or services to customers and prospects, there's a lot of these amazing tools, and it's exciting. It moves fast. It really is. There are millions of messages that are received every year from direct mail, mobile text, other media, and the demand for this attention is staggering. Then you know, throw in the billboards and throw in everything else that we're bombarded with on the radio, and unless you have satellite and you can get rid of those commercials. Customers, both potential and current, have become very fast at perceiving whether these messages are meaningful or relevant to them. Right? We all agree with that? How much mail do you get that you fling it? It's done. Is that for you? Marketers, therefore, need to use the tools and methods that quickly indicate relevant content. Right? Quickly indicate relevant content in their messages in order to capture those customers' interest and ultimately their business. Because that's all we're about. This is playing Monopoly. We want really good quality clients. I want to be in Park Place and Boardwalk. If you guys want to be in Baltic, so be it. Can you tell me, here we go, a little interactive, how many people in this room currently use direct mail to customers or prospects? How many are doing it right now? Direct mail. How many aren't using direct mail? I almost had the email dude caught on that one. It's like Simon Says. The difference is speaking to the group and just sitting there, and again, and how much is perceived, just what I did with Heather. I mean, if I walk over here and Ray and I start having the same conversation, and I know all about exactly what he does, and that he comes from a background of printing, and he believes in email, but we won't use the word blast, and I'm speaking to him. And again, this is what you guys have to do, and I keep saying it because it's so important, just to put it out there. Okay, there's a difference between direct and junk mail, and they both have their places. And I don't use the word junk poorly. It's a strong part of any strategic campaign. So how many are using digital print? How many of you guys are using digital printing in that direct mail? Okay, and a lot aren't. You should be. How many are using variable data or versioning on their digital print? Okay, so we got an email guy doing variable data on his direct mail, and this gentleman back here, but I don't see a lot of hands going up for versioning or variable data on direct mail. How many use, well, I'd ask how many are using a combination of both. I probably don't need to go there. If you aren't, if you're not sure, by the way, you should be asking your printer, whoever your vendor is, you want to know that. There was a campaign locally that printed using offset for really large quantity, then came back through and used just a black and white digital device, glorified copier, whatever you want to call it, for the variable data portion. Why? Because it's less expensive to do it this way, and this is where you need an expert behind you to tell you this and coach you through this. What is your goal? Who are you going to? Is it a drop at every box? Are you going personalized? Do you want to do them all the time? You know, you drop all these postcards, and it's great. You can drop 5,000 cards, 5,000 cards. What happens if the phones start really ringing off the hook? What are you going to do with that? You need to be able to manage this stuff. How many people are using email blasts? Come on, you guys did this before. You can do it, I know. All right, good. So a lot of you guys are using email blasts. Excellent. How many are using direct mail in conjunction with email blasts? You're doing both. I expected her. If Chris's arm didn't go up for that one, I was going to come over and say, are you kidding me? If anybody gets it, okay? You know, and this is the way we're getting to people. And are you seeing results from it? When you do both, do you find that you get results? Some, I see some heads nodding. I see some people thinking I'm nuts. That's all right, I might be. It's okay. I'm talking to you. Notice the difference, right? All right, it works. How many are using other social media in their institutions? Anybody? Tweeting? Anybody here tweeting from your bank? Any banks tweeting? Why not? Because there's rules and regulations? I don't think there's rules against saying, hey, we're opening a new branch. Or did you know that we have a great new employee? Or maybe we're supporting the 5K run for the local town? Whatever the case is. It's a different audience. Okay? And yes, somebody said before, you might have to hire somebody to manage this and do this. But it's not difficult. In fact, we've shown many clients how to do this. It's a great opportunity, by the way, you know, and even Facebook. These are great opportunities. Anyone using personalized micro websites or pearl sites in conjunction with the direct email? Okay, so we have a few. Todd, you don't count. He just wanted to raise his hand. He's uncomfortable. Mobile sites, that's going to be a huge trend. Mobile sites, from the QR code to the mobile site, whatever the case is, this is going to be big stuff. You're going to hear it. You need to jump into it. And as Marty said, you know, going from his 100 years ago when he shook hands with Gutenberg all the way up to today's day of digital, this is where it's going. And you need to have somebody who's on top of that for you. One of the gentlemen here said, you know, when I go to the post office, you know, what I'm dealing with, you don't need to do that. That's why you have us. We're the ones who are out here doing what we're supposed to do, to be your expert, to be your consultant, to make this happen, just like we all have a good accountant, I believe, or a good lawyer, or whatever it is you need. So that's where we come in. Video, another very, very powerful way to differentiate from the competition. A message from the president for training new employees, welcome customers on your Facebook or websites. Anybody have videos made that you can go right here? Anybody? Go to SpectraMedia's site and check out the video we made, and it's all about, I did a commercial, I'm sorry. I broke the rule, Marty. About inventory and housing management. It's really a powerful tool. So some are using a few or all the methods, and now here comes the toughest question. For those of you who are using multiple methods, how many are using an integrated approach rather than each tool in a silo? So you would have measurable accountability and methodology to track it. Are you guys doing that? You have it in a silo, or are you integrating it all? Okay, and if you're not, you're thinking to yourself, no, I'm not. Well, that's part of the problem. You're not getting the results that you expect. Most management teams that we speak to expect their team to be able to track and measure to show what media works best and why, and to what demographic, all with the goal of improved results and ROI. So whether it's yourselves that expect it or somebody you work for, I don't think that's far off track. For instance, how many pieces did you mail? How many were opened? What information did you gather? How many people reacted and how? What will you send those responders to close the deal? Some of the information you want to know. It would be really nice to know that. And you can do this with email, with direct mail, all the other methods. Just don't put them in silos. It's a comprehensive, integrated program. And it's exciting. It's a lot of fun. If you can't tell, we actually have a lot of fun with this. And we actually watch, when we're working with a client, we'll watch what's called a dashboard, and we can see this happening. And if something's not working the way we don't like it, we can change it on the fly. So it's quick. And I'm hoping you're seeing where I'm leading to, and I'm hoping I'm bringing together the value of the direct mail and email. Excuse me. He's taking notes. I'm thinking I'm in trouble later. I don't know. Marty. The perfect campaign would use most or all the following, depending upon the goals you have, and of course the budget. And to me, budget to a lesser extent, I'll even go and say budget doesn't matter. And I'll tell you why. If you aren't marketing and using all the tools, you're only getting a fraction of the results. Being you're in the financial world, and I don't expect you to all blurt this out, but what's it worth to your bank to add 50, 100, or 1,000 new customers with assorted needs? What's that value? Short-term, long-term. So if you're only using part of the tools and you're not integrating them, then you're only getting part of the results. What's that value? If you're selling pens, I'm thinking this system really isn't for you because it's really a low value, low net margin. However, I believe if you have a higher ticket item, and I was telling somebody earlier a story, working with another client, they sell x-ray machines. These are $500,000 pieces of equipment. Do you think it matters what this costs to implement a program like this? They didn't do it. They really didn't. You can't make it up. The truth is what we did was we actually offered them to charge them nothing and just took a percentage of the upside, and they said no. And I just still can't figure out what were they afraid of, success? So bottom line, what's it worth, short-term, long-term, for you to bring on new customers into your bank? So direct mail with a personal message and technology will get you higher qualified leads. I'm the third person up here telling you this, so some of us must have a clue. When you receive a lead, okay, here's some more questions for you. How many of you, when you get a new lead and it's received into the proper person, responds within 72 hours? How many of you are able to get back to somebody in 72 hours? Are you? You guys getting back to somebody in 72? How about 48? Who's getting back in 48 hours? 24 hours? 8. Who's getting back in 8 hours? How about 30 minutes? Anybody getting back to somebody in 30 minutes? Okay, well, study done by MIT, small institution, shows the odds of contacting a lead, if called within 5 minutes versus 30 minutes, increases 100 times. All right? So the odds of contacting a lead, if called within 5 minutes versus 30, forget about 8 hours, of receipt, it increases 100 times. Even better, the odds of qualifying that lead, if called within 5 minutes, are 21 times better than in 30 minutes. That's a huge drop-off. So when you're calling somebody 2 days later and you wonder why they think you're a stranger, there's no wonder why. And yes, with the tools we have today, this can go to your mobile device. Right now, somebody just responded, I do have an interest in a home equity line. Okay, great. Well, that should go to the home equity line expert. I am interested in your CD rates. It goes to your CD person. And there's no excuse for them not to pick up the phone within 5 minutes and call that person. What do you think the results are going to be? Or you can wait 2 or 3 days until they've spoken to another people. Okay. No? Okay, I thought I was crazy with 5 minutes. That's good. A lot of people do. But it works. So it depends on how you want to set it up. So for all you responding to that, imagine what it would be and what your conversion rate would be if you could maintain within that timeline. Now you take this data, okay, from direct mail, from the email, from all this going to microsites, and now you import it into your CRM, your customer relationship management software, Salesforce, for instance. That's called closed loop marketing. You've captured all this information. You've got Excel. You bring it in, and now you've got the most amazing database and tool you could hope for. Okay? Yeah, this takes work. And yes, it takes some money, but the results are there. Integrated technology is part of direct mail and marketing today, and you need to be using it. The fastest growth for CMOs, chief marketing officers, is cross-media integrated programs. So for instance, if you had a 2 or 3 part direct mail campaign supported by an email blast or two with links to a personalized website, maybe a mobile site, asking at the same time for people to follow your tweets, and yes, back to tweeting, not rates, the 5K run, a charity, opening a new branch or location, hiring an exec. These are all ways to stay in front of somebody. Look, we're in Clark, New Jersey. Just a few days ago, we know what the power of tweeting could be if you've been reading the news about a young lady who lives a few blocks from here. And then to ask them to like you on Facebook. That's where the pictures of the bank president running that 5K race reside. And it makes you real and in touch with the communities where those customers are. This is how you, that's another, I guess, more personal way to close the loop. Okay? There's nothing more, nothing nicer than in person. We all know email is great. It can be cold impersonal. How many people here received a personally handwritten thank you note in the last month or two? Anybody receive one of those?
Marty.
You think that's by accident? I don't know. You guys have something, a little subway car thing, a thank you note? I'm not going to touch any of that. So consider following this up with a phone call, an actual live person, and can you imagine what would happen and how many new interested prospects and customers you'd have? 54%, and this touches on what the gentleman from the USPS was saying, 54% of CMOs use 3 to 5 touches on average when looking to attract new customers. So these people are getting the results and there's no surprise. And that's almost identical to what they told you. So we're reading, maybe I got that out of their magazine. And it happens to be a great magazine. If you send a single postcard, you might get 1% response. Somebody in this room told me they sent out 100,000 pieces of mail and got 0.4%. I'm not happy with that. I think that's not the ROI that I would expect. Maybe there's variables involved. It depends, of course, on the message. It depends on the target. Integrated approaches can yield 4 to 6% and up. And when sending out 10,000 pieces, that's an enormous difference. We all receive email every day. And yeah, email, it's important, and I keep saying that. It's a key role. In the subject line, it better be good. You know, I don't know if you touched on that, but the subject line, it needs to be the right subject line. Direct mail is still what gets the highest response rates, providing it's done right. And the truth is, so many marketers have gone to email that we receive fewer pieces of mail now than ever before. And that spells opportunity. We can stand out easier, and then you integrate it. I'm going to do one of my little tangents here. I'm on the soapbox, although you can't tell. Quick side note. Perhaps at this point, some of you are thinking that going with email, you're saving forests. Okay, there's a big greenwashing movement about that. We are maybe the greenest vendor that you'll find in our industry in the Northeast. So we're very aware of this, and I'm biased. The fact is, there are thousands more trees in the U.S. today than there were 10 years ago. It's fact. The reforesting is enormous, and it's a science. So the emails that you get out, or you might even be sending that say, don't print this out, you're saving a tree, couldn't be further from the truth. And if you want the support of that, there's a great website called printgrowstrees.org. Printgrowstrees.org. The truth is the reforesting is fast. It takes into account the animals that live there. They plant different types of trees amongst themselves, so interspersed. So in a forest where they might have cut, yes, they did cut a tree here and a tree there, there's now 10 trees. Okay, so just a little side note. How do you make your mail stand out? Well, here are some musts. Put the person's name on it. You've heard this by all of us already. First name alone, last name in at least 2 places. Of course, this depends on design, database, the goals of the campaign. Use smart design and versioning. And here are some samples we're passing out right now. And what you can see on these samples are, it talks to a male or a female. Well, you'll notice the picture. It's different. You're going to see that there's a pearl on the back. You're going to see there's a small call to action. This is a really inexpensive, simple little postcard. The truth is, I would consider for a campaign for a bank much more than this, but I just wanted to illustrate it very simply. If you're sending it out to a business, put the name of the business on it, not just where you're addressing it. If you already have the information where you're putting the address, you have the information to put that anywhere you want on that printed piece. Do a version. If you're sending it to a hardware store, put a picture there. If it's to a flower shop, it's obvious. All right, so is this, everybody take a look at those postcards? Make sense? What I'm saying, you see how it ties together? Now there's another one there that we put that has no name or anything. It's just a static card. Really doesn't talk to you the same way. Right? You're all seeing that there's a name, there's a pearl site, there's a different picture. If you don't have one, look at the person next to you. Male, female versus a static. And that's what it goes back to when I was speaking to Heather before. When you're talking one-on-one, now that male is talking to one of those individuals, whether it be Todd or anybody else. The difference is instead of getting it in the mail and just throwing it in the garbage, you're going to take a second. We love hearing our name.
Then you got a chance to share this. This exact document did a comprehensive study of marketing. Direct mail and email are virtually tied for response. 66% effectiveness for direct mail or email, 65%.
I think it's 66 out of 65 him. So you use them together and you get the results. And on that, you'll see that there's a Pearl site where it has a person going to an individual microsite. Okay? And we're going to touch on that in a second. With digital variable data, a real nice application is you could put a map on there from the person's home to your nearest branch. Wouldn't that be nice if you're opening a new location, you're having a grand opening, you want to run a special, you know their address, you have Google Maps, you can integrate it and put a map from their home right to your branch. Should we make it in here? You could put a QR code on there, generic or personalized. You make it easy for them to respond using whatever method that person likes. So if they scan that QR code, we know they scanned the QR code. Great. If they went to the email, we know they responded by that. If they went to the email, opted out, are you going to send them another email? Of course not, they've opted out. If they don't scan the QR code, you might not use that. Once you know what people like, that's what you send to them again. And that's how you take this and you close that loop and you bring it into your sales force. If you're sending to current customers in order to cross-sell more of your products and services, because we all know this is less expensive than getting new customers, then use versioning. Thank them for what they do and what services they do use of yours, and then mention all the other offerings. Connect with that person as an individual. There was, I'm going to tell you briefly about another client where there was a large campaign done for an insurance company here in Jersey that offers many products. Okay, so in this case, life, auto, boat, umbrella, homeowners, all the typical insurance, just like you have a lot of different services as well. Two-part direct mail campaign. First, a postcard was used as a heads-up type of thing. Renewal date is approaching. The second was a professional letter in an oversized envelope. Now, the first postcard was similar to the size you sent out, that we handed out just now. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Just a heads up. And it really was just to say, hey, this is coming. If you want to call us, you can. If you want to go to your microsite, you can. But we'll be contacting you. Not to worry. It was quick. It was easy. The second piece was a professional letter in an oversized envelope. It started by thanking them for the policy. Obviously, it's a nice way to start. Clearly stating what it was for, then it was time was now, while stating the other services they offer, and then telling them that bundling it can really save money. That was all in the text portion of the letter. Then there were images relating to each service that changed positions based on that person's policy. So for instance, if you had homeowners, the top right corner had a nice big image of an average home. If you had boat insurance, well, we didn't put a home, we put a picture of a boat. Everything else dropped down. So it was versioning based on what you have with that client. So now we're talking to you again. Your name is on there. It's renewal time. Hey, thanks a lot for having that boater's insurance. I happen to like fishing, and if you do have a boat, I expect an invite, by the way. Just letting you know that. And the point is, it spoke one-to-one. You treated them like an individual and with a great deal of respect. The last part of the letter explained that they were going to get a phone call, or could call them instead, and with each touch invited them to the personal website where they could meet their team, and depending on what they had, there was different teams with different expertise. So knowing that, when they went to the website, we had a picture of this pair versus this pair. Now you know who you're talking to on the other side of the phone with the names. They could learn more and schedule that appointment if they preferred, that call. So if they did want to get a call from their agent, they could say, I want a Tuesday night. Interesting. Depending on the coverage, okay, gave pictures, sorry. The results of this were really overwhelming. Their customer service department head and 3 regional team leaders were gushing about how many more people were accepting their calls and having open dialogue than ever before. It was no longer that hated phone call. It took all the cold out of it, all the solicitation out of it, the do not call list out of it. They were greeted like friends. They ran it for 12 months. It's going to be renewing again in January. That had over 10% response to the microsite itself. They told me, without giving me exact statistics, they had more people on the phone in these conversations than they had ever had before. They simply couldn't believe it, okay? How much business they closed from that, I don't know exactly. And quite honestly, I think it ends there for me unless they want me to write their script. There's a case study we're going to hand out now. Also, we have a case study from a bank in Wisconsin that also used some of these systems. So just something to kind of take back with you. Direct mail, you want to make it stand out. Dimensional is great. We all open it if it's a bit bulky. If it can shake, rattle, or roll, do it. Put their name on the outside also. With variable data digital print, by the way, not just the inside piece, we could do envelopes. On the outside of your envelope, we could put versions and anything you want on there. So that's a real nice catch too. Everybody thought you had to use an open postcard to catch people's attention. Not the case. You can get all the information. You can't get all the information from sending a single postcard out to people. This is where the cross-platform integration must be implemented. Both the mail you send and email you blast direct people to microsites, and that's where you get everything you need. All right, so I'm gonna go out on a limb here a little bit. What information do you, as in the banking world here in the state, what do you want to know from somebody? Give me an idea what would really be nice for you to know. Anybody want to share that? I mean, I have my ideas. If somebody's willing to share, what do you as bankers, what do you want to know about somebody who you'd like to have become their customer? Maybe do they own a home, right? Maybe they're looking for an equity line. Are they renters? Maybe they're looking for mortgage rates. CD rate's important. Location of the branch, their hours. What's important to them? You can't just send out a postcard and find out what's important to them and then react to it. Once you know the information, you know what they're interested in, you have that person call. You send out follow-up information based on what they asked for. It's all variable data. When we're going on presentations now, we're not just bringing a generic pocket folder anymore. What we're doing is we actually have a file folder we've made that will put our name on it and put your name on it or your name on it, whoever we're going to see. And so now it's specially prepared for, very specific, for Amboy, Mr. Kane, it's at the bottom. And now when we leave it behind, if we're seeing Sylvia too, it's going to be on there as well. So what we're doing is we're speaking to them before we've even started. Instead of just a generic, we're walking in and speaking to these people. This is variable data. This is another way to speak one-on-one with your client. It's impressive. We're closing a lot of deals that way. We also have a lot of our clients who are clamoring to have this done for theirs. Now, I'm not saying you should do that for every single contact because, yeah, it's more expensive. But if you're going to a high-level meeting of some sort, if there is an investor, if there is a customer that you're really looking to get, this is the way to differentiate. So direct mail can speak to a person and get them to react. And then if you find out that, yes, I'm interested, call me, that's great. If they say, maybe send me some information, you want to know what information to send, don't just send generic stuff. It could be the wrong stuff. You just wasted all that time and money. If they tell you, no, I have no interest in you. Actually, there's a way to do that. Besides opting out on email, you go to a microsite, no, I have no interest from hearing from you. The truth is, they've done you a favor. The reason they've done you a favor is because if they've excluded themselves, they have no interest, maybe that, their brother-in-law is a banker down the block, whatever the case is. What they've done is they've done you a favor because instead of spending time trying to chase or speak to those people, they've allowed you to focus on all those yeses. And when you can focus on those yeses, you need to respond to them how quickly? 5 minutes, right? So now if you're not sifting through all the garbage and you're instead of getting 100 calls, of which maybe 5 are valuable, I want the 5 calls, I'm calling you back in 5 minutes, we're going to have a conversation, and you're going to remember that 5 minutes. Make sense? I'm done. Any questions? Anything? More coffee? It's lunchtime? All right, thank you.
In conclusion.
Oh no, now I get graded.
10 more seconds. First, talking about the printer. Truly, look for a printer who is having fun. Look for a printer who's enthusiastic and just enjoys the challenges and the value that can be delivered in today's wonderful, crazy, unbelievable, miracle society. Direct mail marketing is alive and well, and the key for success is the printer. That printer will make your job easier, will make you look good, and supply the additional expertise combined with your skill and creativity to make great things happen. Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed this presentation from the New Jersey Bank Marketing Association. For more information, visit njbankmarketing.com. This podcast series is available for sponsorship. If you're interested, get more information at bit.ly/content sponsorship. We produce these programs in the studios of Lubetkin Global Communications in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, on the web at lubetkin.net. For everyone at the New Jersey Bank Marketing Association, this is Steve Lubetkin. Thank you for being with us, and we'll see you out there on the net. Take good care.